All right, everyone. It was the great duel of El Paso the other day with Trump and Beto O'Rourke basically both pitching their ideas to the public. And meanwhile, there were like many thousands of people showed up to hear Trump speak. Beto O'Rourke had a tiny crowd, and yet, the legacy media is pretending that what he has to say is still relevant. They're clinging to the vain hope that he's going to save them from Trump by like running and it'll magically work, even though he's a total cringe. It'd be really funny to see that happen. Here's what I find funniest, though. We have been locked now in a 2-year-long fucking national debate over spending a few $billion to do exactly what DHS has been saying we need to do for years, which is close some of the gaps in the border, some of the more glaring pieces of oversight with regards to having little more than a fence, or in some cases basically no physical barrier as an impediment to illegal immigration. We've been propagandized to by the lamestream over and over as though somehow that has something to do with the conflated issue of people who overstay their visas. They come over as a tourist and just never leave or something, as though that wasn't a totally separate issue from migrant caravans of sometimes 10,000 people storming across the border now with impunity, essentially, because there's nothing there to stop them. We've been having a national debate over spending money for that. Look, Congress had no problem sending, what was the latest aid bill that they sent off to Israel? How many billions of dollars did they send to them? And that's just one country out of dozens that we send foreign aid to. We send, I think, countless billions a year to Egypt. We were to Pakistan, but Trump shut that down. So, that's almost the border wall cost right there. Pakistan, I think, was number 2 or 3 in U.S. foreign aid. Billions of dollars a year, if I remember correctly. We give it to most of the Middle East. We give money to Iraq. We give money to certain Asian countries. We give money to African nations. We give aid to certain Latin American states. We give away tens of billions of dollars a year, but we can't spend $5 billion in building a few hundred miles of 40-foot tall steel fencing at the most vulnerable parts of the border where most people are crossing illegally. It's impossible to do. It's like walls don't work. It's not feasible. It's too expensive. Okay, you have no problem with buying weapons that cost $100 million fucking dollars a unit and deploying them on little kids in Yemen. This is both to the Democrats and the Republicans. But you can't secure your own border. Here's how to know if you should support the border wall, okay? The following are groups of people who do not benefit from a border improvement. People who want to come here illegally, cartel members, drug smugglers, human traffickers, and the tippy tops, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would call them, that employ illegal immigrants preferentially because they'll work for little to nothing in shitty conditions that don't conform to our labor laws. That's essentially what this is ultimately about. Those are the people that make your policies, or that fund the politicians that make your policies. I find it really funny. It's remember back in the day when Obama and Romney were running against each other, like, well, Romney or even McCain. Romney has like 5 homes and he $100 million here and $10 million there and all of them, car elevator. Obama is okay. He's got a few $1,000,000 in a nice home, but he's not exactly like silver spoon class. And it's like you're misunderstanding how politics works completely. He gets everything paid for by other people. He doesn't have to have any wealth actually on the books. He could look impoverished and still be taken care of. The Pope benefits from that arrangement. Pope doesn't have any income of his own. He doesn't go to the store and buy his own M&Ms. He doesn't go and buy his own low-shelf wine. He has everything provided for him. Humility is bullshit in that case. What I would say is it's astonishing to me that there are people who would benefit from the border being improved, who oppose improving the border for one reason or another simply because they've been mind-fucked by Democratic Party propaganda. And in some cases, Republicans. People like Ted Cruz and Rubio, do you think ultimately they want to plug the border up? No, they make a lot of money from the same corporations that employ illegal labor. They want to keep wages low. They want to bring people into the country to enslave, essentially. Meanwhile, they say, think of the children. Yes, I do think of the children. I think of the children that get sold into slavery on the way here, on those caravans. You say, well, what was it, 50% or some insane number of females are going to get raped on the way here? The vast majority will be sexually assaulted on the way here? Yeah, because when you have a group of people, when you have a group of people and you have, young women, often unaccompanied or unaccompanied minors, you have cartel members for 1,000 miles, what do you think's going to fucking happen? Yeah, they're going to have their way with whatever they want. Nobody's going to tell them that they can't. What are they going to do? The cartels have guns and the migrants have none. They're going to get abused. Yeah, the dudes aren't going to be able to protect the women and children. It's not going to happen. They don't want to get killed. They're going to stand aside. They'll be discreet about it. I don't see my sister getting assaulted right now. I don't see anything. I don't want my head chopped off. It's a disgrace. It's a farce that the Democratic Party pretends like its agenda of open borders benefits anybody. Doesn't benefit us. Doesn't benefit the other countries either. Look, the proper thing to do, these migrants need to take responsibility for the state of their own nations and think about their own nations and people and improve them. They should be organizing by the tens of thousands to overthrow their socialistic governments. That's what they should be doing. I noticed that a lot of these migrants are coming from places that are run by far-left regimes. Who'd have thunk it? It's almost like far-leftism is bad for your economy. And then the same people that want to open the border to that, they want to introduce the same failed economic policies here. And they keep trying to do the bullshit thing. Oh, it's so funny when they say, well, Norway has a good quality of life. Okay, yeah, those oil sales, really the same per capita as the U.S. economy is. Okay, yes, everybody can work on an oil rig, and I'm sure that people who have no college education who migrate here and in some cases are not literate in English, I'm sure that they're going to be the ones getting that $70K a year job. No, I don't think so. I think that they're going to end up enslaved in a sweatshop somewhere. No, you're not being kind to migrants or thinking of the children or being pro-immigrant, equal rights for immigrants. It's like, you're none of those things by endorsing open borders. You can be all of those things if you have a coherent border defense system. And like, think of it, like when they talk about, well, people overstay their visa. Okay, what kind of person is going to fly in here on a tourist visa and have the wherewithal to get one? They come here, you know, border control isn't going to look askance to them or something. Is it going to be somebody who has a 5th grade education and wants to, to come here? Or is it someone that's maybe from an upper rung of society in a nation that's simply economically backwards? Like, they're from Mexico, they're like, well, I've got a degree, I can't find a job. It's like, maybe they do that because they can make ends meet even in their home country. The sort of people that are marching across the border, they have nothing, and I do feel sorry for them. But I feel sorrier for the people that are still in those shitty socialist nations run by shitty governments. They could be great. They could have stable economies. They could be well run. You wouldn't have a migrant crisis. The U.S. should defend the border and put pressure on those states to reform their economic ways. But even then, the politicians don't want to do that. It's much, much better to keep them in poverty. That way we have fewer competitors on the world stage. It is really cutthroat how these people operate. Sometimes having a cutthroat is necessary, like Trump's a cutthroat, especially in the boardroom. When you're talking to Jinping or Putin or someone who leads a nation that's economically larger, yeah, you need a cutthroat. But when you're talking about some country where their economy is 10 orange trees or something like that, I don't feel too fucking concerned. What I do feel concerned about is the loss of all cohesion on the border as more and more people come across, because it's been signaled by the government we're not willing to tackle this issue. And for Beto O'Rourke to be the one coming out to talk about this issue is hysterical to me. Though they chose him because he happens to be in Texas. He happens to be Texan, and that's the only reason why they chose him. They should have gotten, what was it, Stacy something or other, the one that delivered the SOTU rebuttal that nobody watched or cared about or talked about. Should have had her in there. Send Pelosi to the border. Let the real face of the Democratic Party address the issue. An old, rich, white person. Yeah, see how much fanfare you get. It's like a few hundred people care about what Beto has to say. He loses his election. Thank goodness he did. Comes skateboarding out on stage. Basically looks like Ralph Northam moonwalking to me. By the way, Northam news, he's calling on Fairfax to resign too. He's like, well, if these allegations are true, he should leave. It's like, dude, you're the one that started the snowballing scandal in Virginia. You should have resigned already. The fact that you're not is going to make the Democrats take a huge hit in 2020 in Virginia. Yes, I think that, yes, I would say at this point Virginia probably goes red. There's the election for Trump, everything else equal. Hell, he could lose Florida at that point, he still wins the election. I think he could lose Michigan or Wisconsin as well. He'd lose a couple states if he gets Virginia. He's got no fucking problems. Don't worry too much. That's about all. Peace out.